before the world met the Kpop Demon Hunters that were secrets, sketches, and untold choices shaping their destiny. Step into the shadows of food production, where every detail hides a story waiting to be revealed.
You know, every once in a while, a piece of culture comes along that just defines a moment. And for 2025, that moment absolutely belongs to an animated film called Kpop Demon Hunters, or as pretty much everyone calls it, Kdeon. This thing is way more than just a hit movie. It's a global event, and it's forcing us to rethink what K-culture even is. So let's get into it.
And when I say hit, I'm not kidding. We're talking about a record-demolishing monster. Kdeon is the very first film or series in Netflix history to smash past 300 million views. To put that in perspective, that leaves even giants like Squid Game in the dust. I mean, the scale here, it's just something we've never seen before.
But this isn't just about the numbers you see on the screen. The New York Times put it perfectly. They said the film is heading toward the kind of cultural impact we usually only see with Disney's biggest hits, like Encanto or Frozen. It's one of those things that changes trends and just completely dominates the conversation.
Okay, so with a story that's so deeply Korean, we're talking K-pop, shamanism, all the little details of life and soul, you'd naturally think, wow, some genius Korean studio must be behind this. It feels like the most authentic piece of Korean global content ever made. So which studio was it?
Well, get this. This single most successful piece of K-content of the year wasn't actually made by a Korean studio. It was produced by Sony Pictures, that's Japanese and American money, and then distributed by the American giant Netflix. And that fact right there creates this incredible paradox that tells us so much about where global culture is heading. So that leads us to our first huge question. If it wasn't made in Korea, how in the world did they manage to capture the culture with such amazing, almost obsessive detail? How did they get every single thing so right? Well, the answer really comes down to one person, director Maggie Kang. She was born in Korea but moved to Canada when she was just 5. This gave her this unique outsider-insider point of view. She grew up loving both K-pop and American animation, which gave her the perfect lens to create Kdeon. But it wasn't an easy sell. She actually pitched it to Sony first, and they passed. It was Netflix that saw the genius in it and gave her the green light. And that perspective, it was everything. One critic, Kim Young-dae, pointed out that in the past, some creators might have felt like they needed to downplay how Korean their work was to appeal to a global audience. But director Kang, because of her diaspora experience, did the total opposite. She said it herself. She wanted to put her culture right at the center of the story, without hiding a single thing. And you can feel that commitment in every frame of the movie. It is absolutely jam-packed with what people are calling hyper-Korean details. We're talking big things, like connecting K-pop's roots to traditional shamanism, but also tiny, everyday moments. Things like putting a napkin under your spoon at a restaurant, or the characters eating kimbap on a private jet. It's that level of insane detail that made the world feel totally real to Koreans and completely fascinating to everyone else. So what does all this success actually mean? Kdeon isn't just a one-off hit. Its success is a huge signal that something fundamental is changing. K-culture is shifting from being about a country to being something much bigger, a global genre. The big concept here is denationalization. Basically, it's what happens when a cultural product becomes so popular and influential that people stop defining it by where it was made. Instead, it gets defined by its own unique style, its quality, and its creative language. Its DNA becomes a kind of blueprint that anyone can use. Think about it this way. A movie doesn't have to be made in Hollywood for us to call it a Hollywood blockbuster, right? And a show doesn't have to be made in Japan to be called anime. Well, the K in K-culture is making that exact same jump. It's becoming a trusted brand, a style that creators anywhere in the world can tap into.
This is a massive evolution of the Hallyu, or the Korean wave. The old Hallyu was all about exporting a finished product, like a K-drama made in Korea that gets sold to other countries. This new Hallyu is about exporting an entire worldview. It's like building this incredible cultural playground and then inviting the best creators from all over the world to come and build their own cool stuff in it.
But, this is a big but, this exciting new world also poses a really tough challenge for Korea's own creative industry. It's forcing them to ask some very difficult questions.
And this quote from Choi Joo-hee, the CEO of the Korean streaming service TVing, just says it all. You can feel the mixed emotions. Of course, there's a ton of pride in seeing Korean culture take over the world like this. But at the same time, there's this real anxiety, this painful what if? What if this massive success had been built from the ground up, in Korea, on a Korean platform?
So why couldn't this movie have been made in Korea? Well, a lot of people point to the investment scene there. It tends to be pretty risk-averse. The money mostly flows to the safe bets, proven formulas, big name stars, while it's a lot harder to get funding for something that's totally new and experimental. In fact, one financial analyst put it in really stark terms. They said if director Kang had pitched this exact same idea in Korea about 7 or 8 years ago, it almost definitely would have been rejected. The whole concept would have just been seen as too weird, too risky. It took foreign capital, an outside perspective, to take that chance.
Which brings us to the final and most important question. This whole situation has basically created a fork in the road for the future of K-content. The Korean creative industry is now looking at two very different paths forward.
Okay, so path number one is to become a raw material supplier. In that future, Korea provides the amazing cultural ingredients, the stories, the styles, the talent, but it's global companies that put it all together and make most of the profit. Path number two is way more ambitious, become a worldview architect. That means building the next cultural Marvel Studios from within Korea, owning the characters, owning the vision, and controlling the whole universe.
So the real challenge here, the big goal, is to build an ecosystem at home that actually encourages and invests in these big, bold new ideas. The dream is to create a place where the next Kedashen can be born from Korean planning and Korean money, not just from its culture.
And that's the ultimate question that Kpop leaves us with. As this incredible cultural force keeps growing, what will its role be? Will it be the supplier of raw materials for others to build with? Or will it be the chief architect of its own universe? The next chapter for K-culture is still being written.
All right, Demon Hunter fans, time to put your skills to the test. You've seen the behind-the-scenes stories, but how much do you really remember? I've got a flashcard quiz lined up just for you. Each question comes with only 5 seconds to answer, so stay sharp. Trust your instincts, and let's see if you're a true Kpop Demon Hunter expert. Good luck, hunters.
Q1. What is the full title of the Netflix animated film often abbreviated as KD on KDH? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is Kpop Demon Hunters. Q2. What is the central premise of Kpop Demon Hunters? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is a popular K-pop girl group secretly works as demon hunters during their non-promotional periods. Q3. What is the name of the main K-pop girl group in Kpop Demon Hunters? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is Huntrix. Q4. Who are the 3 members of the K-pop group Huntrix? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is Alumi, Mira, and Joy. Q5. What is the name of the rival boy group in Kpop Demon Hunters? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is Saja Boys.